Hi guys, can you hear me loud and clear?
Good afternoon, sir. Yes.
Afternoon. Okay, let me share my screen. One second. Okay, so what was the last topic we did?
So we did about the footprinting. We learned about the techniques of footprinting, the various ways, and you gave the homework of around to find out the websites for the SPF record vulnerabilities.
So you found something, you got something for top 100 websites, SPF record?
Not that particular much, yes, but when there are some disclosures are there, they are into the exclusions. Secondly, go for the random websites. Actually, when you say that we need to go for top 100 websites, it was for specific field, like something like, or it could be any random website.
Random top
Random
100
website.
websites. It can be a e-commerce website, it can be any technical website, it can be any website who is selling some clothes, it can be any website selling some particular product, does not matter. It's a website We have to make sure the security is there. So
Sorry.
you were aware of, you got the purpose of SPF record, no? What is
Right.
the purpose of SPF record? So whatever type of website it is, does not matter.
So I do
Anyways, you
have
found
some.
something? You guys found something? Yes, no, maybe? Okay, good. Follow. So today we are basically covering up with the scanning part. Likewise, we understood in our last class that footprinting is all about gathering public information, the information which is publicly available. Today we are going to understand how we can gather the information which is not so public in nature. Yes, Raman. When we say not so public, Raman, yes, tell me your question.
Okay, so the one is the Wayback Machine is also a part of footprinting?
Yes, Wayback Machine is also part of footprinting.
Okay, and when you talk about you told us that you will tell us about MTU because I have just revised that thing. I have not properly understood that what is an MTU.
Okay, so what is MTU is? MTU is maximum transmission unit. What is maximum transmission unit? Whenever you download any particular file, let's say you're downloading a 1 GB file, right? Now, how this file gets downloaded into your system? It's not that 1 GB directly get into your system and then you are able to use that particular file, right? How it happens? So first, let's say, so now the MTU size basically it depends upon the speed of your internet. Okay. Now let's say you have a good speed, whatever speed you have. Let's not go into the mathematics. Let's say 1 GB file you are downloading and the what file how it downloads. So first few packets are going to come. So let's say 10 MB file is going to come, right? Then another 10 MB is going to come. Then another 10 MB is going to come. Like this, small packets are going to come, and then you are able to basically open that particular file, right? So let's say after 10 MB file, so let's say it's 100 MB file, not 1 GB file. 10 MB file is going to come, then a 10 MB file, then 10 MB file, then 10 MB file. This is what we call MTU size. Okay, this is your MTU, maximum transmission unit. What is the maximum transmission unit over here? Is 10 MB. This is what we call maximum transmission unit. Now the MTU size is always the multiple of it. It is not like randomly it will be 10. No, depends upon what is your internet speed divided by 8, and the outcome will be the MTU size. Okay, so it can be either 8, it can be 16, or any particular number which is a multiple of 8. It will be that particular size. Okay, so this is what your MTU is, maximum transmission unit.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Good. Okay. Now, so we are talking about, yes, Arshdeep, it's practical class. So now we'll be talking about your scanning. So what is scanning is, so likewise in our last session, we understood that in your footprinting, we gathered public information, right? The information which is publicly available. Let's say if I want to hack you, so I will gather some public information about you through Facebook, Instagram, and wherever I would have an access. Now, scanning is all about gathering information which is not so public in nature. You can also say private information, but exact term is not the private information. You can just say not so public in nature, which is publicly or easily not available. To gather that kind of information, we perform scanning. So while you were doing footprinting, your website was not aware of it, that somebody is trying to gather information about them. Okay, but when you do scanning, your website is aware of it, that you are performing scanning on them. Why? Let's say I want to hack you. I got your public information. Now I need some information which is not so publicly available. Let's say your account balance. I have no idea what's your account balance, right? I can still figure out in which bank you have a bank account, but in which bank you have an account. But I'll not be able to figure out how much balance you have in that account. So what I'll have to do for that? I'll have to be your friend, or I have to be your friend's friend, so that at any ways I can get your information. Now let's say I'm talking to you. So you are aware of the things that I'm asking you some questions, and I'm aware of that particular information. If I'm talking to your friend and getting your information out of him, then he might tell you. So you anyways directly or indirectly get aware of it that somebody is having your information about that particular topic, right? Same way, when you are talking about websites, when you gather some private information about your websites, so you when you scan your website, your logs are being generated over to the other end. So what kind of information we gather into scanning? We gather what are the ports open available. What are the open ports you can say? Okay. First of all, very important. On the open ports, you will be finding some different services which are running. Okay. What is the version of the service? Okay, there are service running. What is the version of that particular service? Then you will also be finding out about the vulnerabilities in that particular ports or in that particular services. So let's say there is a website. Okay, we found the IP address of the website. Let's say IP address is 192.168.123.23. Now what we have to do, we have to scan this particular target. After scanning, we will be getting the open ports. Let's say port number 22 is open. What is port number 22 is for? Guys, what is the service which runs on port number 22?
SSH.
SSH. What is SSH?
Secure shell.
What does it use for?
It is used for secure the connection. Like I told you that the tunnel
It's
is
used
that
for remote connection, basically.
remote connection. Okay.
Exactly. Secured remote connection. Okay. So let's say port number 22 is open, SSH is working over there. So what we can do, we can figure it out. We can try to connect ourselves from port number 22. If we get connected, we are connected to the server. So what can happen? We can read the files. We'll do ls and we'll be able to read the files and all. But our main target today is not that we have to get the connection. Okay. Our main target is not that we'll get connected to the server and we'll be reading the files. No. Our main target is to figure it out whether port number 22 is open or not. This is one of the things which is most important. Once we know how to figure it out, we will be able to open it, and then exploitation part is a later part. First, right now we are trying to find out the information. Then if port number 21 is open, what is port number 21 is for?
FTP.
Which one?
FTP, file transfer protocol.
How many ports FTP use?
2, 20 and 21.
20 and 21. 20 is for?
20 is for transferring the file and 21 is for making the connection.
Exactly. So we have two ports. If port number 21 is open, so what can happen? We can connect with the FTP and we can figure it out which version of FTP they are using, version 1, version 2 or version 3. Same way we have SMB port is open or not. Like this, we have to check, we have to figure out how many ports are open, how many ports are closed, what are the services running on that particular port. Okay, this is one part of scanning. This is very important because through this particular activity only we will be able to connect to the target. All right, now I'm talking in terms of hacking for the next step. This is in terms of ethical hacking, or you can say uh, testing, security testing, right? So you need to gather this information while performing the security testing. So IP address will be given by your client only, right? This is the first part. Open ports, closed ports, services running over there, version of the services, vulnerability, if any particular vulnerability is there or not. Second part is you need a target. Let's say you are sitting in a cafe and you want to hack someone. There are 5 people, those who are using their laptops. Now, how will you figure out that who is connected to your network? So let's say you're using a Wi-Fi in the cafe, cyber cafe, or not in the cyber cafe, you can say the coffee shop. You're using a Wi-Fi over there, they have free Wi-Fi. 5 people are there. People are using their mobile phones, people are using their laptops and all. Now you need to enter into their system. How will you do that? How will you figure out how many people are connected? How will you figure out how many IP address? How will you figure out whose IP address you can connect to? So you need to perform network scanning over here. Okay. What is network scanning? Network scanning is basically finding out all the devices which are connected to your network. Okay. How do you do that? For that, we use some tools. We call them Angry IP Scanner. Sorry. And Advanced IP Scanner. Okay. We'll be talking about this. Then in network scanning, basically we find out all the devices which are connected. So out of all the devices, we'll find the IP address. Okay, I want to attack on this IP address. Let me see what are the open ports, what are the closed ports we have, what are the services running. Do we have any vulnerability over there? If yes, how can I exploit them? So exploitation part again, we will be doing later on. Right now, we will just be finding all the devices which are connected to our network. Okay. Then third thing, we're going to learn vulnerability scanning. What is vulnerability scanning? Vulnerability, what is vulnerability? Okay, Arshdeep, you tell me, what is vulnerability? Vulnerability क्या होता है? Arshdeep, unmute yourself. Arshdeep, I'm waiting for the answer. Arshdeep, unmute yourself and you can speak. You can unmute and speak. No issues. No. You speak. It will take time to explain you in the chat. You can speak. Unmute yourself.
सर कैन आई से
Yeah. Ansh, tell me.
सर इसके अंदर होता है कि ऑटोमेटेड प्रोसेस ऑफ
नहीं, vulnerability क्या होती है? पहले ये बताओ, vulnerability क्या होती है?
सर जो एक कमी होती है हमारे सिस्टम के अंदर जिससे हम एंट्री ले सकते हैं
वो कोई क्या होती है?
सर कमी जिससे हम मतलब अंदर एंट्री ले सकते हैं किसी भी सिस्टम में
ओके, तो सिक्योरिटी इशू होता है। So we have to use very specific words for it, right? अगर suppose let's say if you are in the interview, you cannot say anything over there. You have to use a very specific words, right? तो एक technical term के साथ मेरे को बताओ vulnerability क्या होती है? अंश, again, try again. एक technical term के साथ मेरे को बताओ vulnerability क्या होती है? Deepak, that is not the vulnerability. Process of taking information to any server is not a vulnerability. What is vulnerability?
Shall I answer?
Okay, wait. Let Ansh speak first, then next.
सर
Yes,
वीकनेस
क्या होता है?
vulnerability is a weakness
What kind of weakness?
which can exploited by a threat actor
No, मतलब वो specific. Yes, Nishant, you tell me.
I think let me try. I mean, it could
Yeah.
be a flaw or a weakness in some kind of a system design, implementation, operation, or anywhere that could be exploited to compromise the system security.
Exactly.
Himanshu here, can I speak?
Yeah. Yes, Himanshu.
Vulnerability is something, the loophole. We can tell it a loophole in infrastructure or any application, any website, anything. That is just like the weakness of the company or a website that is the harm for the website or application.
Exactly. So when you're in security field, it is very important to use this term security, exploitation, harmful. Weakness is fine. I mean, we all understand weakness. If like, let's say there is a website and you're opening that website and the website which you're getting open onto your screen, it has no, like, not a good structure, or basically DOM is missing. So some structure is not, it is fine, right? In that case also you can say this is a loophole in the website. Your DOM is not set up properly, right? In that case you can say loophole. But When you're talking about security, it is very, very important that you use these words. Weakness in the security, loophole in the security. Security term you have to basically use. So people will understand, but it is important again. So try to pick up these technical terms. Okay. Okay, Arshdeep answered that vulnerability is an inability to resist a hazard or to respond when a disaster has occurred. For instance, people who live on the plains are more vulnerable to flood than people who live higher up. Arshdeep, Google to ढंग से कर bro. Some message sending. Yes, Himanshu, message is only for me. Okay. चलो तो देख अर्शदीप vulnerability क्या होती है? Again, vulnerability is basically a loophole or a weakness, security weakness or security loophole in a particular website or in a particular IT device or in a particular infrastructure, IT infrastructure. That is simply the vulnerability is. So in vulnerability scanner, what we are trying to do is we use some tools. Okay, using those tools, we basically run our IP address or our website over there. We'll just provide the name of the website or we'll give the IP address or website, and it is going to scan it and gives you some result on the basis of the source code it has available and the signatures it has available. It will calculate, okay, it will calculate that there is a possibility that this attack can be performed. There is a possibility that this type of attack can be performed. But again, vulnerability scanning is done not only on the regular basis, sorry, it is done on the regular basis once you have done your full VAPT. So this is VA, vulnerability scanning, and then what we are going to learn in this particular course is VAPT. Okay, we'll come to that again. So first thing what we are going to learn right now is network scanning, that if you are connected to any particular network or there is any particular network which is there, how you can find the IP addresses of that particular network. For that, we use some tools. We call it Angry IP Scanner and Advanced IP Scanner. Okay. So let me show you this tool. Have you, anyone of you have used these tools?
Yes, sir.
Which tool do you have used? Angry IP
I have
Scanner,
used
Advanced.
Angry IP Scanner. I have used Nmap also.
I just had a hands-on over Nmap, sir.
Okay, cool, nice. So we'll be discussing about Nmap also. Let me show you how do you figure it out. So first of all, we need to find our IP address. What kind of IP address? Private IP address. Okay, so IP config. This is my private IP. Now, I don't have to actually get my IP address. I have to get my default gateway address. So what is my default gateway address? 192.168.1.1, right? What are the total number of IP address we have in this particular network? How many IP address we can have? Don't worry, Manshu. I'll tell you from where to download and how to use this software. So this is what I am using is Advanced IP Scanner. Okay, from where you can download Advanced IP Scanner, just go online and write Advanced IP Scanner. So from this particular link, first link, you can download Advanced IP Scanner. I'll share the link with you. It's easy to download, easy to set up, no rocket science in that. So just click over here, it will download this tool for you. Once the tool is downloaded, when you'll start the tool, this is how it is going to look, right? Now over here, what you have to do is you have to provide the IP range, okay? And from where you will get the IP range? You will get the IP range from your system only. And how do you get it? IP range, you open the command prompt. I hope everyone is aware of how to start the command prompt. In case you're not aware of, just do this, Windows R, write CMD, okay? Either this way, hit enter, it will open the command prompt, or go to the search box, write command prompt. You see this command prompt, click on it, it is going to open the command prompt for you. Okay. Once the command prompt is open, all you have to do is you have to write IP config. What is IP config? IP config is going to tell you the IP address of your device. Hit enter. Now you are connected to LAN or you are connected to Wi-Fi. Depends upon that where you have to look the IP address. So I am now connected to the Wi-Fi, right? So this is, you have to read it. What is this? By wireless LAN adapter, Wi-Fi, right? So I'm connected to Wi-Fi. So this is my IP address. Now over here, I am looking for the default gateway. What is default gateway? Default gateway is what is the starting of my IP address. So 192.168.1.1. My IP address is 192.168.1.4. So mine is the fourth device, basically, you can say, just like that. Okay. So I need this range. Okay. Now my IP address is going to reach till 192.168.1.1/254. Copy this one, this IP address, and just give the address over here. Okay, then /254. That's all. Hit enter. Click on scan. It is going to scan full network, all the IP addresses between this range, and wherever the device is active, that particular device you will be able to see over here. So see, you can see that as soon as we scan, first of all, we got our own IP address. My device is active, so it is showing me my device over here, 1.4, which is my IP address, right? Clear? Second, it is showing me another IP address, which is 1.5 Apple, basically my mobile phone. Then it is showing me some more device. I don't know which device is that, no information. Then we have something AKP Plani PC. So this is one of the laptop my mother is using right now. So we can find out this IP address. Now what I can do, I found out, okay, there is a laptop. Okay, manufacturer is something. This is the MAC address and no more information. So I can scan this IP address and figure out, do I get any particular information related to this IP address or not? I can perform that activity. Same way, there is another address. I don't know what is this address because it is not showing me the manufacturer. It is not showing me the MAC address, right? This way, I figured it out. How many devices do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 devices are active right now. So it can be a mobile phone. It can be a laptop. It can be the television. Okay, because I have, it can be a camera also. Okay. So we just got the IP address, and if possible for this particular tool, it will also show you the manufacturer, right? But right now, whatever it was able to find out, it has found out for us, and now we can perform the next step, which is your port scanning, but we'll do it later on. Okay, so first target is to get the IP addresses of the devices which are connected to our network. Another tool is basically your Angry IP scanner. So you can just go Google it, Angry IP scanner. Free download, just click on free download. Which one you want, you can just decide which device you have. Download this one and it is going to run for you. I'll share the link with you. I'm downloading it for Windows. I'm sharing the link for Windows, but whichever device you have, if you have Mac, you have to download the Mac one. Here it is. So now we know what is our IP address. 92.168.1.1, and over here 255, right? And then just click on start. That's all. Now all the devices which are there, it is going to figure it out. All the devices tries to find out their host name, tries to find out their MAC address, vendor's name, and if it is able to figure it out for you, it is going to show it to you. So you can see over here, it's still scanning. So once the scanning is done, after that only you have to basically analyze the results. Okay. So see over there in your advanced IP scanner, where is it? Here. In your advanced IP scanner, we found 1.3 is active, but what is 192.168.1.3? We have no idea because manufacturer was not there. But if we look at over here, it says that it's an Android device. Okay, it's a Xiaomi vendor, MAC address vendor is Xiaomi. So we can figure it out. It's a mobile phone, Xiaomi mobile phone, right? So we can use both. We can use one or we can use both together. Okay, so over here 192.168.2 is not active according to this device. This is a desktop, my laptop. You guys are aware of now. 1.5 again, nothing. 1.6. Let's see, 1.6 is active over there. It's active, but it is not showing us the manufacturer. And over here, it is showing us the manufacturer. So this is basically the camera we have in our house, right? So this way you can use both and figure out the result and compare the result. And if one result is not showing over here, you can look at over here. If nothing is showing over here, you can look at here. So you can use both and figure it out and collect the data all together and make it an information. What is the difference between data and information? Acha, what is data?
Information we can.
Collection of information.
Data is?
Collection of information.
No.
Sir, data is raw information which is not systematically arranged, sir.
Exactly. Data is random information which is not arranged. It's just like if I'll say ki, my last name is Kunal, that's all. That is a raw information. You just know that my name is Kunal, that's all. But if you talk about information, you will be knowing my full name is Kunal, my phone number is this, my address is this, like that. So raw data is a raw format, raw information which is useful, which is already arranged and everything can be, you look at it and you get something. But when you look at some information and you're not able to understand what is this written, that will be a data, raw data. Okay, so this is a data for you right now. You can make it an information. Okay, so if you talk about this IP address 192.168.1.6, this is a raw information, raw data. But if you want to make it an information, use both the tools and you figure it out. Okay, what is the IP address? 116, and MAC address is this one. This is digital. And then you Google it. Now I'm damn sure that people are not aware of what is Hanzoi Hikvision Digital. They might not be aware of this thing, right? So they can just Google it. What is this? They'll figure it out. It's a camera. Okay, it's a camera company, and then they'll basically get it. Okay, they might be able to hack the camera as well. Right. So this way you can figure it out. So you can download these tools and do it. Second, there is one more command for figuring it out. Here in Kali Linux, we have a terminal. Okay, so likewise we have command prompt over here. In Linux, we have a terminal. How many of you are not aware of or familiar with Linux, Kali Linux or Linux? How many of you are not aware of and familiar with Linux? Okay, who else? Much aware.
Somewhat know about Linux.
Acha, please do write in the chat box so I can just remember. Okay, because we'll try. ठीक. So the thing is, in Linux, no, we have a terminal. My Linux is not working fine right now. Okay, so I might not be able to show you for today. I might not be able to show you any practical because Linux is not set up. I had to delete it, and now it's not even downloading. Again, network issue. So half file is downloaded. I thought it might download it, but it's a very big file. Sometimes it takes 2 hours, sometimes it takes 3 hours.
Sir, may I request one thing? Will it
Yeah.
be possible that if somebody else share the screen and you take the control and
Sure, yeah, I can do that. I was actually about to say that thing only. So who has Linux in this system and can perform it? And it started. Kali Linux is like working fine in this system. Anybody?
I'm just opening. Give me a
Okay, so
second.
you start your Linux, then I'll show you the who is opening Linux, who is starting the Linux. Ishant, you're doing that?
Yeah, I'm just giving it a try. Yeah, it's already there. I'm just starting it.
Cool. So start your Linux and I'll show you. Okay, so in Linux, we have one very good command. We call it net discover. Okay, this is a very nice command. This command is going to search all the devices which are connected to your network, and then you can perform whatever attack you want to perform. Same way, like we found in advanced IP scanner and Agri IP scanner, same way we can do it in the Linux also. So we can use this command net discover. Net discover will find out each and every device. It is also going to perform subnet scanning also. So if out of the network also, like for your IP address, there is any other subnet also, it is going to discover IP address for that also. But if you want to give it a range, then you can also give it a range, like net discover minus R and the IP address. So what is my IP address? 192.168.1.1 slash, I'll give it a range /24. So now it is going to basically scan the IP address for specific range like this. All right. Let him start the Kali Linux, then I'll show you the how we perform scanning. Okay. Now, when we have something, as I told you about, once you will get the IP address, then what you have to do is, once you'll get the IP address, you have to scan your target and figure it out. What are the ports open? What are the ports closed? What are the services running over there? What are the version of those services? For that, we use something we call Nmap. Okay. For port scanning, open ports, and for everything we call it, we use a tool, we call it Nmap. Nmap is basically network map. Okay. Now Nmap is already available in your Kali Linux. If in case you don't have Kali Linux and you are facing so many issues in downloading Kali Linux, then we also have a GUI version of Nmap. We call it Zen. Okay. Now ZenMap is basically you can download on Windows as well as on Linux, wherever you feel like. I'll show you ZenMap. Else, if you want to download Nmap, Nmap is a command-based tool. ZenMap is basically GUI version. You don't have to give commands from your end. Everything is being there. You just need to select what you want to scan. In your if you don't have Linux, it's not working fine for you or some issues, you can also download Nmap on Windows. Okay, it takes little time. You have to configure so many things, but yes, you can do it. There are so many tutorials available on the YouTube that how you can download Nmap onto your Windows. You can watch them and you can perform it. I have already downloaded Nmap on my Windows. If I'll write Nmap over here, hit enter. So it is showing me that I have Nmap and it is showing me all the commands which I can use for it. So this is how your Nmap looks like. You just write Nmap and it is going to show you all the commands which you can use with the Nmap, right? Now let me start some machines. Let me start 2-3 machines in my network so that I can show you that all the machines, if we want to scan those machines. Let me start. Let me start this one, victim machine. So we'll scan these machines and we'll look for the result, that how we are able to scan them and how we are able to look for the result, what kind of result we are getting, how we can figure it out whether it is vulnerable or not, how we can say whether it's vulnerable or not, all those things we're going to see. All right, so this machine has started. We can see that it's saying pumpkin garden, right? So it is kind of a, let's say, server, Linux server, which is running in the background, and you are in a company which is asking you that you please perform a vulnerability assessment on our app, on our server, okay, or VAPT on our server. So this will be your first step. What is your first step? They will provide you the IP address and everything. You don't have to search for it. If it requires for you to search for it, what you can do? You can use Angry IP Scanner, Net Discover, or Advanced IP Scanner, or all the three, your wish. Now we got the IP address. The IP address is 192.168.1.128, right? The first thing what you have to do is you have to perform a ping command. What is the purpose of ping command? Anyone?
Ping command is just used to check whether the connection is alive or not, whether we are receiving the packets or not, or the flow of communication is there or not with the particular IP.
Exactly. So if your device is not active, okay, or you don't have the IP address, then it is of no use to scan that particular device. It is like why we use a ping command. We are just figuring it out whether the device is alive or not. If the device is alive, If the connection is live, then only there is a use to perform scanning over to that particular network. If the device is not alive, then it's just like you are killing a already dead person. So that is of no use. So we'll check just by giving ping command that is it alive or not. Okay, Nishant, let me complete this, then we'll switch to the Linux commands. Now we can see that the device is live, and we can see the IP address also. Whatever IP address we have given, it is giving us the reply. So the device is live. Now our next step is to scan it. How do you use Nmap? So first of all, as I told you, you just write Nmap and see all the, you will be able to see all the commands. Right now, these are the commands which we have. Same thing you have to do in the Linux, in the Kali Linux only. Okay, there are no different thing, no difference in basically using Nmap either in Windows or in Linux. Commands remains the same, everything remains the same. Now, if you look at over here, how do we perform normal Nmap scan? So what does Nmap does for you first of all? Nmap is going to find out all the open ports, all the services running over there, all the you can say about the network, information about the network it is going to give. Okay, then how do we use these commands? What are these commands? We'll talk about that also. Now let's say a basic command. You just write nmap space the IP address you want to scan. So what is the IP address I want to scan? This is the IP address I want to scan. So just write nmap and the IP address. Hit enter. It is going to scan this network, this particular IP address, and gives you the open port, closed ports, and information about this particular device. Now, what are the total number of ports we have?
65,535.
65,535. So when we have this number of ports, so it takes little time to scan. Okay, so Nmap sometimes take a lot of time, depends upon what kind of command you are giving. Now this is the result we have got. So I gave this command nmap 192 and your IP address. This is a basic command, the basic command we can provide. And if you see, it says scan report for this IP address. Host is up. Host is up means the website is live. Basically the host is alive. Not shown 999 closed ports. Port number, state and services. So what is the port number? Port number 21, which is open, and service is running FTP. Now, as we know that we have total 65,535 ports, right? But it is only showing me the result of 1,000 ports. How 1,000 ports? 999 closed ports and one open port. So total is 1,000 ports. But what we were expecting the result of 65,535 ports. But by default, what does nmap do? Nmap, because I have not given any specific command what I want to do. I just wanted to scan this report, this particular IP address. So by default, nmap scans top 1,000 ports. Okay, so there are 65,000 ports. Total number of ports which is being scanned by nmap right now is top 1,000 ports. So that is why it is saying 999 ports closed, one port open, and this is the port open, and this is the service running. It is not showing me what version it is for FTP. No other information about that particular version. Okay. In that case, what we are going to do, we have to specify how many ports I want to scan. So for that, we use -p. There it is. Here, -p. For that, we use -p. Okay. How do you define -p? Let's say you want to scan a specific port. If you want to scan only port number 20, I only want to see out of 65,000 ports, I want to see port number 20 is open or not. Port number 22 is open or not. Port number 3535 is open or not. So I can specify a specific port number from my end. Likewise, -p -2020. For example, over here, I want to figure it out. I don't want to scan all the ports. I want to scan only one port. So -p, give the port number. So let's say 3535. I want to figure out port number 3535 is open or not. Hit enter. Now it is only going to scan this particular port number, nothing else. Out of 65,535 ports, it is going to scan only this particular port number. See, now it gave me the result. Okay, this port is open and this is the service running, right? So because I only demanded for this port, I didn't demand for anything else. But let's say I want to scan all the ports. So in that case, what I can do, I can specify the range, or I want to scan only top 100 ports. So I can specify the range from 1 to 65,535. Or I can write only top 110 ports, or whatever number I want, 100 ports, 1000 ports, 10,000 ports, like this. So let us scan all the ports, 65,535. Hit enter. It is now going to scan all the ports, 65,535, and whatever open ports we have, it is going to show it to us. Okay, let it scan. It will take little time. Let us open a new command prompt and perform another command. We'll come back to that. Now you can also provide -p minus instead of, if you want to scan all the ports. So this one also is going to scan all the ports. This is also going to scan only all the ports from 1 to 65,535 ports. Same command. Now see, we got the result. If you read at the result, not shown 65,532 closed ports. So how many ports are left? 3 ports are left. Now it is basically showing us all the 3 ports which are open. Port number 21 is open. The service is running FTP. Port number 1515 is open. Service is running IF4 protocol. Port number 3535 is open and service is running MSLA. Now we need to have some more information. This is not the enough information through which we can attack or we can perform some action over to your target. Okay. In that case, what we have to do, we have to use different commands, right? Likewise, I want to scan all the ports. Now I need some more result. I need to look for other information. I want to look for what is the version they are using. I'm not able to see what version they are using. I am not able to see what are the protocols they have. Likewise, over here, service is okay, fine. I4 protocol they are using. But what is the protocol actually they are using? They are using which particular protocol? So how we do it? We just use -a for it. -a basically, or you can also use minus small s and capital S for stealth scan. We are going to use -a. -a is basically very good command. It is used for scanning aggressive scan, you can say aggressive scan or advanced scan. What it will do for you, it is going to basically here is -a. What it is going to do for you, it is going to tell you what is the operating system of your IP address. Okay, what is the version, what is the skip scanning also it is going to perform, and trace route also it is going to perform. So it is going to give you the result in advance. Advanced means basically advanced level result, or you can say aggressive scan. Hit enter. Now if you compare the result, no, result will be too much different. You can also use -v, capital V. Basically whatever is going on, no, it is going to show you onto your screen. Likewise, if I hit enter over here, so it is not showing me any result right now. It is just telling me that 0 host completed, 1 undergoing, 0 host up. Why it is showing the 0 host up? Okay, 1 host up. Now it is going to scan basically. So we have to check, is it our host is up or not? So if it shows you 0 host up, this means the scanning is not performing. It is not performing the scan. If the host is up, then only it is going to perform the scan. In case it is showing you host is not up, in that case we use a command, we call it -pn. Minus capital PN. Ping not. -pn means ping not. So what we are telling our device that whether the host is up or not does not matter. You feel that the host is up. You just know that the host is up. Don't ping the host. Host is up. You just scan the host. So basically, after giving -pn, it is by default going to scan the host and gives you the result. Okay. Now, because you are performing the command, you're performing you're scanning all the ports and you're performing advanced scan. So it is going to take little bit of time. Okay. I don't know, my Windows is little bit slow. So it takes little more time than usual. Now see, we got the result. This was our command. So what is the extra thing we added over here? We added only -a, and -a is giving us lots and lots of other information about your target. Now let's see what is the information that we are getting and what kind of information we have to use. Now if we look at over here, port number 21 was open. It's open. FTP service is running. What is the version? VSFTPD. What is VSFTPD? Anyone? Guys,
Is it Visual Soft?
No.
Not sure.
No idea.
Okay.
Sir, it is a FTP server.
What is the full form of VSFTPD at least? It is a FTP server only. अच्छा FTP के total कितने protocols हैं? FTP के total कितने versions हैं?
Protocols, I guess 2 protocols are there, 20 and 20.
Port number है वो.
They
20
are
और
the
21
ports. They are the ports. Right.
अच्छा TFPT पता है? Guys थोड़े से ना protocols को read करना start करो. That what are protocols? What are the use of these protocols? Okay, so they'll help you in the next step. They'll definitely going to grow in this particular field. It is very important that you have these understandings of protocols. Okay, so try to learn about protocols, different protocols. There are so many protocols. Try to learn only about top 1000 protocols or top 500 protocols. Top, it's not like port number 1, port number 2, port number 3. No, top 1000 protocols or top 500 protocols. If it is too much for you, you have less time, try to learn top 20 protocols at least. थोड़ा डिटेल में, ठीक है. VFPD कुछ नहीं होता है, वेरी सिक्योर फाइल ट्रांसफर प्रोटोकॉल डीमन होता है, वेरी सिक्योर. So basically when you're using FTP, that is fine, but what is the version of it? VFTPD is the version, and it is very secure. Still it is vulnerable. Okay, so they are using VSFTPD 2.0.8. So what we have, we got the version of this protocol. We have got the version of this particular service which is running. What we can do, we can go and Google it. What is the exploit for this one? Okay, once we'll find the exploit, then we'll be able to exploit it. So on the internet, these are the the older version of protocols we have, and exploits are available. Okay. So when we'll be exploiting these, no, we'll be looking at that how to look for the exploit. Right now, if I'll show you, you might get distracted or you might not understand. I don't want either to get distracted or you should not understand things. Right now, as I told you, our main focus is to just figure it out the information. We are not using that information. We are just finding out the information. So just -a is showing us what is the version they are using. This is the version they are using. Now, if it is FTP, the older version, this is the version they are using. So we have some issue in this version that if this version is there, so there is a config file. In config file, if there is something anonymous login, allowed or disallowed. So if it is not changed, sometimes system administrator, he is not aware of these things. Okay, because he is not ethical hacker or tester. He is not aware of these vulnerabilities. So he do not change that particular activity. So what will happen if he is not changing that? You can see that anonymous FTP login is allowed. Okay, so if you are able to log in, you use anonymously. So what you can do, you can read the files also. So there is in this particular protocol, there is a file which is available, which is not.txt. So what one can do, one can get connected to this particular IP address. Okay, one can get connected to this IP address and can read this particular file. This much I can show you if I might have FTP or not. Let me check. If I have FTP protocol, will we do have. Now, what I was talking about. So it says that my result is that anonymous FTP login is allowed. So what I can do, I can use anonymous and I can log into the FTP. Right click. So how do you connect to FTP? You just give the FTP command and the IP address. Okay. Now it says that user. What is the user? User is anonymous. A-N-O. Hit enter. What is the password? Password is also anonymous. Login successful. So now I am into FTP server of this particular IP address of this particular machine. It's a server. So I am logged in into a server without any authentication. I just found the IP address. I tried to scan it. I found FTP port is open. I got connected to the FTP port and I'm inside FTP port. If I'll do ls list file, I can see that there is a file which says node.txt. Right, there's a file node.txt. I can read this file, but FTP over here you cannot read the file. You have to download the file and then you have to read it. So we downloaded the file. Let's exit. Never mind. So you can see I can now read cat node.txt is a command to read the file. It says hello dear, looking for something. So basically this is the information which was available in this particular file. Right. So this way we have I didn't perform any particular high level hacking over here. Okay, I didn't took the access of the machine. You can also take the access of the machine using the simple technique, this technique. Not simple technique, yeah, it's a high-end technique. But what I just showed you a very small hacking step. Okay, so what we did, exploitation step, you can say. So this was the information we got. What we did, we got connected to the server and we were able to read a file which was available. How I did, what I did, exploitation part, again, don't worry about it if you have not understood. We will be discussing that thing in detail. Okay, in your server class, when we will be doing server, no, we'll be discussing that in detail. For now, just understand how to figure it out and how to read the information. So how do you read the information? We saw that open port is FTP, port number 21. What is the version over there? Go online, look for the data about this particular version, look for the exploitation, and then we can use that later on. So we'll be looking for the exploitation later part, right? Then if we come down, there is another port open, which is port number 1515. Open, what is the service running? HTTP. What is the server running? Apache. What is the version of server? Apache HTTPD 2.4.7. Again, very important to know the server version. Why? If it is an older version, then what we can do, again, we can go Google and find out what is the exploit for that particular version. Let's say if it was using Apache 2.2.0. In that case, we can perform an attack. We call it Apache byte range attack. Okay, there is an attack through which you can perform DOS attack onto a web application. It's the application level DOS attack. So now over here, tell me, if it is the service which is running HTTP, what is HTTP used for? If the service is HTTP, what kind of activity we should do over here now? What should be the next step I should perform? And
There can be
HTTP.
There can be a kind of server or a router.
Router or a server? Server तो ये है ना हमारे पास Apache. अच्छा, HTTP. Why do we use HTTP? What is the purpose of HTTP? अच्छा, what is the full form of HTTP?
HTTP का hypertext transfer protocol. We use HTTP because it's just like it's just used into the browser अगर हमारा HTTP पोर्ट ओपन रहेगा then only we will be able to browse the websites.
Exactly. तो अभी यहाँ पे HTTP पोर्ट ओपन है, HTTP port is open. What should happen?
Transfer over the data to the web.
There is a possibility that there is a website with this particular IP address. Okay. It's HTTPS.
Can we not pull out the cookies and other information exploiting
That
this?
is different. What is right now that is exploitation part which you're talking about. That's not related to your this information gathering. We'll be talking about that. But right now, if your HTTP port is open, port number 80, right? HTTP runs on port number 80. It says that HTTP port is HTTP protocol, HTTP service is there. So there is a possibility that we can have a website with this IP address. What is our IP address? This is our IP address. Now, if we open this IP address into a browser, what is the information we get? Let's see. It says that site can't be reached, right? Why does it say that site can't be reached? Because your HTTP runs on port number 80, right? But over here, the HTTP is running on port number 1515. So we have to define port number from our side. So we'll just give colon port number 1515, hit enter, and we are able to open the website. So as I told you in the starting also, while we were studying the networking, it is not important that if a specific port is defined for a specific server or services, sorry, it is not important that you have to run that particular service on that particular port number only. If you are using that particular port, you are using that service within your organization, it is only for your organization, not for public. In that case, you can use any port number. But if you have to make it public, then the defined port number is the only one which we have to use. Because you have to be connected to everyone. You have to follow some standards while you're making the things public. But yes, if you're using it in a private information, private organization, you don't have to show it to the public. At that point of time, you can use any particular port number. Right. So over here, this is not something for public. This is for internal organization. So they have hosted this website on port number 1515. If you want to make it public onto this particular IP address, you can do that as well, but you have to define the port number in front of your IP address or in front of your website name. So if website name is abc.com, you have to give colon 1515 so that it can take this particular port number only to get open. Okay, so out of this information, we got it that yes, there is a port number 1515 is open. Service is HTTP. What is HTTP? HTTP or HTTPS for websites, and then Apache, which version is there? This is the version of Apache. Then same way over here, port number 3535 is open. SSH service is running. Now to basically get connected to SSH, you need a username and password. Okay, so basically from these two particular information, if we are able to figure it out some username and password, then we'll be able to log in. Otherwise, we will not be able to log in. So there are so many things we'll be looking for. This type of information we can gather. This type of information we are looking for. Okay, same way there are different other commands which you can use likewise. As I told you, -pn first of all, very important. How do you do it? Just write -P small n. We generally use this command whenever we are not able to scan. Whenever there it says that your host is not up, we use -pn. Okay, -pn will never say that your host is not up. Nothing like that. Okay, it will scan your target and it will show you the result. Okay. Now, what are the different commands you can use? Let's say you want to perform a fast scan. You don't have time. You're like, let's scan it and find out the result. I don't have a time. So you can use -f. Generally, this is not something which is acceptable, I'll say. But yeah, sometimes when you are in a examination, okay, at that point of time, you don't have time. You have to get the result very fast. So during the exams only, we use -f. For me, I'll say personally, not while performing the test. Or the client is on my head and that point of time I have to do it. Otherwise, simple scan. Then we can use so many scripts. Okay, there are so many scripts. I'll tell you two best scripts which will help you out in every particular situation. Okay, So how to use these script commands, I'll show you. Then we have something -o, which is only going to figure it out the operating system you are using. So if you don't want to use -a, because -a will give you extra result also. You're like, I'm short of time. If I'm using -a, there will be a lot of time it is going to take, because it is going to perform other things also. If you're using -o, it is only going to detect the operating system, that's all, nothing else. Like open ports, it is definitely going to figure it out, open and closed ports, but -o will going to give you the operating system detection. Like this, you can read different things what is written in front of them, and you can use those commands according to your need. Okay, so that is what why I was saying that understand the protocols and ports, so that you will be able to understand these things also. Likewise, let's say it want to perform TCP scan, synchronization and acknowledgement scan. So if you are aware of what is TCP, what is synchronization, what is ACK packets, don't worry, I'm going to tell you all these things in the further classes also. But if you are pre-aware of these things, they are going to help you a lot. Okay. So make sure you read about port numbers, top 1000 or 100 or top 500 or top 20 ports. Whatever you feel like, depends upon, it's your wish, your knowledge is going to improve. Okay, so this is how you can use it. Now, if I want to perform scanning on my particular application and I want to figure it out if there is any vulnerability in that application or not. Now, what is vulnerability? Weakness, security loopholes. How do you figure it out? You just write nmap -a for advanced scan -b. I want to scan all the ports, 65,535 ports, space -pn, ping not. I don't want my website to ping, just scan it. It is alive. I'm just telling my website that. With this, I am going to write -- script equals to vuln, basically for vulnerability. So scan the vulnerabilities. If there is any vulnerability in my website or my machine, let me know. Okay, for that we are going to scan a new website. Okay, what is this? Let me start my machine. Okay, machine has started. I'm just getting the IP address, that's all. So 192.168.1.30, 18.130. Okay, so what I'm doing now, this is the command to find out the vulnerability in this particular IP address. If there is any vulnerability in my target, it is going to show. If there is no vulnerability, it is going to tell me that also. So it is what it is going to do. It is going to scan all the targets, all the port numbers, okay, from 1 to 65,535 ports. And if it is able to find out any particular vulnerability, how it is going to check, okay, what is the version of this particular server they are using. It is going to find out, okay, what is the service they are using. They are using this port number. This port number has this particular service running. Is it an older one or the new one? Do I have any particular exploit for this? Yes, there is an exploit for it. So it is basically scanning everything. Okay, and then in the end, it is going to give you the result, present the result. So this particular kind of commands, no, they are going to take little time like maybe 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, maybe 30, maybe 40, maybe an hour. So we will have to wait for it. Same way, I'll copy this command, I'll share it with you. Okay, same way, there is another command for script. Now this is only specific for vulnerability. Okay, if you want to only find the vulnerability, it is going to show you open ports, closed ports, services and everything, because we are writing -a. -a is going to show you everything like in detail, as I told you. Same way, it is going to scan all the ports also, right? Same way, it is going to show you the vulnerability, right? So whatever you will be adding over here, it is going to show you that result. Now, this one is for vulnerability. If you delete vulnerability and you write it all, this is a very good command again. Okay, what it is going to do, whatever script we have, whatever. So I want to find a specific vulnerability, let's say heartbleed. So what I can do, minus script, I can write heartbleed. Heartbleed is one of the vulnerability. I don't want to scan all the vulnerabilities. I want to check only for the heartbleed vulnerability. This is going to do that for me. But we are not only checking for a specific vulnerability, we are looking for all the vulnerabilities. So we just write VULN, which consists all the vulnerabilities. But on the other end, we have other different things also. So if we write all, it is going to perform this scanning on each and everything, whatever we have in that particular target, and gives you a very good result. But again, this is going to take a lot of time. A lot of time means it can take 1 hour also. It can take 1.5 hours also. Depends upon your computer speed and your internet speed, everything. Okay, so these are the very good two commands which are there. Otherwise, basic commands are also very nice, which is nmap minus capital A minus pn minus p minus and your IP address. This is also very good command. Okay, so you have to read about nmap and figure it out. Now we got the result over here for this particular command. You can see the script command. Now this is our Windows system, right? Before we were doing it on Linux, this is our Windows system. Before, when we were finding out the scanning, we were performing scanning, that was our Linux. Now this is our Windows in which we are scanning. If we look at over here, port number is this open, some version is running, again another port is open, some version is running, again something. Now we are over here looking for specific vulnerabilities. Do we have any vulnerability or not? If we have, how to exploit it? Exploitation part, again we are going to look at later point of time. Now if you see over here, it says RDP vulnerability, RDP remote desktop protocol. RDP vulnerability is there. What is the vulnerability ID? ID is MS12000 or 020 or 20. What is vulnerability? Vulnerability is remote desktop protocol denial of service vulnerability. I hope you guys are aware of DOS attack. Anyone who is not aware of DOS attack? Anyone? Good. So no reply means I'm considering that you guys are aware of DOS attack. So what it is going to perform DOS attack. Okay. Now it is not 100% surety that you will be able to perform DOS attack. We have to figure that out in exploitation part. So when we will be basically performing the attack, then only we are going to get the 100% result that yes, we can perform. For now, we are not sure about it. Until unless we do it, we are not sure about it. But there is an issue. The issue is when you perform testing, you are not allowed to perform DOS attack. Okay, so you can just inform your people. First of all, you can take the permission from them that we can see that DOS attack can be possible. So if you allow us to perform it, so we will perform it. If you don't allow us, then you can just look for this vulnerability on your own and figure it out what you have to do for it. Okay. Secondly, if you come down, closure discourse, these are the areas from where These are the links from where you can get more information. It says reference. You can go to these two links and read more about this particular vulnerability. Okay. Then if we come down again, this is the same thing, remote desktop protocol, remote execution vulnerability. Now in this case, what can happen? What do you mean by remote? Anyone? When I'm saying remote, what do you mean by remote? What is RDP, remote desktop protocol? What does it do?
Operating from a different place.
Anyone?
Remote simply stands for like we can perform the activity remotely within a network if the RDP port is open.
And what if it's out of the network?
We can go for port forwarding kind of a thing.
So let's say there is a server and it's not in your network, but it's public. Will you be able to perform RDP over there?
Private to, no,
Why?
because we are on a private IP and from private to public IP we cannot perform the attacks.
Okay, very nice. Cool, nice. So for performing RDP, you need a private network. Sorry, you need a public network. So if you want to get connected to, you want to create a reverse connection. Okay, so let's say there is a server which is running. Let's say Critical has a server running. Now I was able to scan it and I was able to figure it out that yes, there is an RDP possible. So I'll have to have a public network. I need a public IP to get connected so that I can communicate. Until and unless I have a public IP, I'll not be able to communicate. If I don't have a public IP, I will have to have a perform a port forwarding. Okay. So port forwarding, either port forwarding or I'll have to basically create RDP over to my system and then I have to get connected. So this you can create it on AWS also. You can upload Kali machine or Metasploit again or any particular tool on AWS and then you can create a reverse connection. That is different case, but for now let's understand this one only. Then if you come down, it says the same vulnerability and you can read more about this vulnerability. Then if you come down again, MAC address is there. So operating system they have is Windows. And over here we have some vulnerability. It says false. MS10054 false. False means it is not vulnerable. If you look at over here, MS10061 not found. So no vulnerability. But if you look at SMB vulnerability MS17010, this is a vulnerability. It says it is vulnerable. What is the vulnerability? RCE, remote code execution. Now, what is remote code execution? RC is a very, very, very nice vulnerability. This is one of the best vulnerability we have. RC vulnerability means that I will be basically giving commands. I will be uploading some of the exploits from here just by sitting on my system. I'll be exploiting your device from here. You will not get to know. And I will be able to look for the data, whatever you are doing. Okay, this is this particular vulnerability, MS17010. This is an eternal blue vulnerability. What is this protocol SMB? Anyone? What is the purpose of this protocol SMB?
No idea. No idea.
Anyone? Right, SMB, very important. I mean, this is the vulnerability we are going to understand and we're going to learn in further classes also. No one? अच्छा चलो ठीक है. So research over SMB. That's your homework for today. SMB के बारे में थोड़ा रिसर्च करना, कितने वर्जन है इसके, okay, क्या क्या vulnerability है, what are the different vulnerabilities we have for SMB. Exploitation, don't worry about exploitation. I'll teach you exploitation, how to exploit it. Before exploitation, you should understand what things are. Now it says that SMB vulnerability is there, MS17010 is there, right? And if we want to read more about it, we can read more about the exploitation. What can happen after exploitation? What can happen? I can click the picture of your screen, whatever is happening onto your screen. So This way I can perform attack or I can perform scanning part onto anyone's system. So what I can do, I can go to a cafe, basically coffee cafe. I can find out, okay, I'll go to any particular cafe, 5 people are sitting there. I'll scan the network. I'll find out the IP address. I'll scan all the IP addresses. I'll perform port scanning onto their IP address, and then I can find this information. If any of the device is vulnerable over there, what I can do then, further in the next few sessions when we'll be going to learn how can exploit it, we can exploit those particular IP addresses if we find any vulnerability. It is not that if you don't find any vulnerability still you will be able to exploit it. Then that is a different scenario. Then we can send them some files, they'll click on the file, they'll download the file, and that's basically social engineering, you can say. That is a different scenario, but yes, in this case we can do this. Okay, understood? nmap समझ आया? nmap कैसे करते क्या करते हैं guys? nmap
Yes, sir.
समझ आया? Understood nmap?
Yes, sir. So I have a question over here. So in this, like we are going for the vulnerability scanning. So this vulnerability scanning is entirely different from the web application scanning,
Yes,
right?
this is related to the server.
This is related to the server. Okay.
Yeah. So web application server, generally the server you interact with is a web application server. So when you are typing over here ping google.com, the IP address, this is a server IP address, right? This is the IP address of google.com. Now this IP address is your web application server. Now when you'll scan it, you will be scanning the server. You're not scanning the website. This, what we understood over here, is about the server. What are the ports open on the server? What are the protocols running on the server and all those things. Next, what we'll be studying is, we'll be studying about web application scanning.
So like we have a tool as Nmap for server scanning, and we have different tools for web app scanning. So is there any other tool also present other than Nmap for the server scanning?
Nmap is one of the best tool right now.
Right.
There are no, I don't think so there is any other tool for scanning purpose. For network scanning, yes, we do have. Likewise, we'll be doing now this one. Nessus is there, Aconetics is there. Will be, that's your basically the next tool which we'll be talking about. They are for both, for web application scanning and for network scanning both. So you have to select what particular task you have to perform. You have to scan the network or you have to scan the web application. But again, nmap is the best tool. You don't count on Nessus, you don't count on any other tool, you can count on nmap. Same way, for nmap we do have a GUI version which is Zenmap. How do you download Zenmap? You just go online and type download Zenmap. From here you can download Zenmap. So it depends upon it's you're downloading for Linux or Mac or Windows. For Windows, this is the setup. For Linux, this is the setup. You can download from here. For Mac, this is the setup. I'll share this link. Here you go. Okay. Once you'll download, again, there is no rocket science in downloading Zenmap. You will be easily be able to download it and run it. Once you'll start your Zenmap, this is how your Zenmap is going to look. Okay. Now, what you have to do is you have to first give the IP address over here you want to scan. So, or you can also give the website name. So what is the IP address we want to scan? Let's scan for Let's scan for this one. Same results will be same, just the scanning way of scanning is different. Why different? Because you don't have to provide the commands from your end. So let's scan this one, 18.128. 18.128. Okay, so you just have to provide your target, that's all. Other things, what type of scan you want, you have to select it from your drop down. There are different scans, because if you, in case you are aware of nmap commands and everything, then you will be able to understand, okay, what type of scanning is there. If I'm performing ping scan, so I can get, okay, what type of scan it is going to perform. If you're performing, let's say, intense scan, so I know what type of scan it is going to perform, right? So if I'm performing, let's say, intense scan only, I'll click on scan. That's all what I have to do, nothing else. I just have to select the profile, that what kind of scan I want. I'll just give the IP address, which is the basic requirement of the tool, and then click on scan. It is going to scan and represents the result in front of you. Second thing, once the result is going to come, if you want to only see the port numbers, so you'll be able to see the port numbers. You want to see the topology, you'll be able to see the topology. If you want to see the host details, you'll be able to see that. So the data is also segregated. Okay, so you want to see the segregated data, you want to only see the ports, you will be able to see the ports like this. Okay, now see, it scanned it and it has given us the same result what we were expecting. So there are 3 ports which was it supposed to show, but it is showing us only 1 port. Why? So see, 999 ports closed, only 1 port it is showing. Why? Because we have not specified the port numbers, how many ports we have to scan. So by default it is scanning total 1000 top ports, 1 to 1000. So I want to see what is the ports open and all those things. This is 21, TCP protocol is running, state is open, service is FTP, version is VSFTPD 2.0.8 or later. If you look at the topology, local host to this one. Topology means anyone? What is topology? Guys?
Might be the way that they are using into the network. Like we have different topologies, like size, hardly remember star topology and kind of a thing. But
Exactly.
maybe.
Yes, Himanshu, correct. So the structure also you can say a topology. Likewise, your IP address is not the like directly coming to you. So it might be able to switch the IP address from one place to another place to another place to another place and then reaching to you. So that will be the topology. So using topology, we can find out the different other IP address also used by your website. So let's say there are 3 IP addresses, it might be showing you from this to this, this to this, this to this. So you can scan other IP addresses also and figure it out if there is any issue in those IP addresses. Okay. Then host, about your target, open port, 1 port found, filtered port, 0 closed port, 1000 scan port, 1000 uptime. This was the time when it was last booted, everything about your network, about your device basically. Scans, basically scans will show you how many scans you have done. This is related to you. Your history, scan history basically scans. Okay. Like this. So you can use ZenMap also, whichever you are comfortable with, you can use that particular tool. Okay, either Nmap or ZenMap. I'll say learn Nmap in proper manner, learn Nmap in detail instead of going for the ZenMap. ZenMap is once you will understand, then what you can do, you can provide the details, you can provide the commands over here also. So if I want to write -pn, I can write -pn. I want to write minus script.
Sir, what is T4 here? A aggressive scan, I understand. V verbose.
T4 is
What is
basically for
T4?
fast scan.
So are there any parameters from 0 to 10 or 0 to 15 or
Yeah,
something?
1 to 4.
1 to 4, and 4 being the
Is
fastest.
the highest one, the fastest one.
Mhm.
So I can provide the commands from my end also. At that point of time, there'll be nothing profile which is set, because there are only limited profiles which are being set over here. Okay. And then if I perform scan, it is going to scan this particular command. In the profile, the best particular profile is slow comprehensive scan. Slow comprehensive scan is going to perform all these sort of scans available and going to give you a good result. But this is going to take time, too much time. So that's why people generally go for intense scan when they are performing a new network, then they're in the examination. And then side by side, you can start one more Zen map and then wait for the result like that. So you see, it is scanning this vulnerability scanning, which I added over there, and it is going to give me the result of that. So use whichever you're comfortable with. But you should know the commands, because over here, it is not going to show you the commands. So if you're not able to see the commands, then it is of no use. Okay. So you can download ZenMap and you can start using ZenMap as well.
I'm sorry to ask, but again, the previous one, nmap in command line that you were using, was it something that you installed there, or did it come automatically in command line?
In
I
Kali
mean
Linux, it's already there. In command prompt in Windows, you have to set up.
And how do we do that? I mean,
You can Google it. It's a little bit tricky, so it will take a lot of time. You have to configure so many things.
okay, no worries.
YouTube, it's available. The tutorial is available on the YouTube.
No worries, I'll find it out. Yeah. No, I was just thinking because I just tried the same command and it wasn't coming. So
Yeah. So in your Linux, it is already available. So I told you my Linux is not working. Kali Linux.
mhm.
So that's why I set this up for you guys so that we can do the practical. Okay. Nishant, your Linux has started.
Yes, it is there.
Can we share your screen?
Let me just.
Wait, I'll unshare my screen, then you will be able to do that.
Yeah, I think
I'll
yes.
have to give you the permission. One second. Okay, I've given you the permission. You can do that.
Let me know if you can see my screen. It has Kali coming.
Yeah, coming. Fine. Okay, so
I'm not sure if I can give you remote control.
no, don't give me the remote connection. You just do it
Okay.
yourself. So you
Okay.
see the terminal. Can you start your terminal? So guys, this is Kali Linux. Okay, this is how it looks like, and this is your terminal. On Linux, no, generally whatever we do it with the commands. Okay, we do it manually, very like you say, just very less manual things. Like if I want to copy something, so for that people generally use commands to copy data, to transfer or shift files from one place to another place. Likewise in Windows, what we do, we just do Control C and we copy the file, we go to the folder, we give the command over there, we paste it onto the other folder. Over here in Linux, generally people use the commands. Okay, so terminal is the place where we give the commands. Likewise in Windows, we have command prompt to give the commands. Over here, terminal is the place where we give the commands. So this is how your terminal looks like. So right now we are going to understand the net discover. Okay. First of all, we need to find out the IP address. Now, how do you find the IP address in Kali Linux? Anyone? So Windows, we know that we write ipconfig and it shows us
IF
the IP
config.
address.
IF config.
Exactly. So ifconfig is the command for Linux. So if I write ifconfig, hit enter.
Have I written it correctly?
Yes, you have written it correctly. Write sudo space ifconfig.
I think that should.
if.
Oh, sorry. Mm. Sudo hyphen, right? Or just
Just
if?
write
Or
ifconfig.
is that it?
Yeah. Because you are not connected to the internet in Linux. Okay.
Now,
Kim.
I think.
Oh, yeah. So see, this is the IP address 192.168.93.128. Okay. So this is the IP address what we have for our Kali Linux. Now, if I want to scan this network, so what I do, I just write net discover, NETDISCOVER. Now, that's all. This is going to scan my network by default. I don't have to define any IP address, nothing. If we hit enter, it is going to scan my network and it is going to give me the result.
I think for everything it would require
yeah, because you're not you don't have a sudo access over here. It's
so it's
2020.
scanning, right?
2020.
2020 version 3. Yeah.
So now what it is doing, you can see that it is scanning the full network, and once the scanning is done, it is going to show you all the devices which are connected. Okay, from there then we can take the IP address. All right. So after this course will be completed, your ISAP course is going to complete. You have to move on to the next step, which is your OSCP exam. In that, this command is going to help you a lot, I'm saying. Okay. Same way, let's say you don't want to scan whole network, you only want to scan your own network. So in that case, what you do, you give the command net discover. Can you please open a new tab, new terminal basically. Control T also will help you out, I think.
Control T.
Control T try. Or Alt Shift Control T also, or Alt Control T also you can try.
Yeah, it came.
Okay. Now, what was your IP address?
I'm sorry, I forgot completely.
Yeah, fine. So now you can write net discover space -R. Now -R basically is for the range. We are defining a range over here that I want to look only for this range, and then give the IP address 192.168.93.1/24. So if you want to copy paste now like this in your Linux in the terminal area, so you do Shift Control C is going to copy, Shift Control V is going to paste.
Okay, so what sorry, what do I need to copy here?
828. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
/1. Now give one. No, give one first. /24. Yeah, hit enter now. Now it is only going to scan your network. Okay, it is not going to scan anything else. See how fast you got the result over here, because you have specified the IP address which you want to scan. Over here in the first tab, you didn't specify which network you want to scan. So it is still scanning. The scanning is still going on over here, right? Because it will scan full network. But over here you have defined the IP address. Only you have to scan this this particular network. So it is going to scan that particular network. So net discover again is a very good command you can use. You can make a note of it. Okay, simple. Either net discover, it is going to scan full particular network. If you want to specify a particular network, you can use -R and specify the network. Clear this one?
Yes.
Am I sharing the screen? I'll share my screen now.
Okay.
Clear? Then we have something we call vulnerability scanning. Now, what is vulnerability scanning? Vulnerability scanning. So there are two things. One is VA, another is VAPT. Have I told you about this before? VA and VAPT, difference between?
Yes.
And what is the difference between VA and VAPT?
In vulnerability assessment like VA, we only do the scanning with the automated tools. And when we find out any kind of a vulnerability, then we manually test that thing and then we call it that pen testing. But until or unless we are not 100% sure about that vulnerability, then only we report it. That is VAPT.
Exactly. So in VA, what we do in VA, we perform vulnerability assessment. Vulnerability assessment means that we try to find out that do we have any vulnerability available? Okay. If yes, we do have. So it is, we use some tools for it. Very good tools. There are mostly when companies perform VA, they have to buy the tools. They don't rely on the free tools. Okay. VAPT, we perform it manually. We will basically manually look for the vulnerabilities and then we perform penetration testing on them, basically exploiting them, and then we are 100% sure that the vulnerability is there. So VAPT is manual, VA is your vulnerability assessment. Now, when we are not 100% sure that there is a vulnerability or not, sometimes we are not even 10% sure that the vulnerability exists. Okay, then why do we perform VA? We perform VA because at any point of time, we cannot go for VAPT after every 6 months. Let's say I made a website. I hosted a website. I went for the security testing also. For security testing, is not like 10,000 or 20,000 or 30,000 bucks. No, the security testing also costs you money. Maybe 90,000, maybe 1 lakh, maybe 1.5 lakh. Now, if every 6 months you cannot spend this much onto your website, right? For security testing. So what companies do? Companies buy these tools for VA. They give their website in VA tool. That particular tool scans it, gives them the result. Even if it is 5% correct, they are going to basically check it. Okay, let's check this port, let's check this service is running fine or not, and all those things. Then they basically take an action over to that particular tool. After every 3 months, 2 months, or after every week, if the security team is there in the company, then depends upon that it is basically going to perform VA. Second thing, make sure whenever you are practicing this tool, likewise I'll teaching you this tool, when you are practicing it, do not practice on a live website. No practice on a live website. If you do it on the live website, it is going to generate the logs over there. You might get in trouble, or you might create a website in trouble. There is a possibility when you're performing vulnerability scanning, vulnerability assessment on a live website. So website might get into trouble. Why? Because when you're performing these scans, these tools basically sometimes put some garbage value in the coding. Okay, somewhere they keep on, they whatever what VA is doing, it tries to exploit it. If basically the vulnerability is there and it successfully exploits it, the issue is website will not be in the structure it is supposed to be. Website can be in some another structures. There can be a problem with the website also. So until and unless your client gives you the permission, you don't have to perform VA. If I'm getting a project and I'm getting a project for VAPT, I'm not supposed to perform VA. I'm not supposed to use these automated scanning tools. Okay, I'm not supposed to use these tools, automated scanning tools, until and unless I have a permission. So you need a permission for it. Though you can perform it on Pakistani websites, nobody cares. Okay, but do not perform in Indian websites or good websites. Don't perform it on US websites. They might reach you. They might reach you. I'm not saying they'll reach you. They might reach you. You might get in trouble. So make sure you don't do that. If you want to practice, we have a website. We have a test PHP, vulnweb.com. You can practice over these websites. We are also going to see the results on these websites. Now, what are the tools we are going to understand over here? We'll be understanding about a very good tool. We call it OVASAP. Now, using of these tools, all the tools using and reading or analyzing the reports are same. Okay, there is no like much difference in that. We will see for two tools. Okay, one is OVASAP, one is Subgraph Vega. These are the free tools I'm talking about. Paid tools, we have Nessus, we have Acunetics, We have one more tool, very good tool, right? Qualys. And there are so many other tools also, so many. There is like list of tools we have. Companies generate their own tools also, like IBM, they might have their own tool. HCL, they might have their own tool. Google, they might have their own tool. They don't want to sell it in the market. They want, they can sell it in the market on the basis of how their website has been designed, which coding they are using. They can design their own tools as well. Okay. In the market, Acunetics, Nessus, Qualys, these are the tools which are generally used. Okay. They are the paid tools. You have to pay them money and then you can use them. So paid will give you a good result. Free tools, I don't think so. They're not going to give you that much good result or something like that. Okay. Working using the tools, analyzing the report is same. Okay, let me show you first of all Avast app. How you can download Avast app? Go online, write Avast. The first link which you will get, this one. Click on it. I'll share the link with you as well. Just click on download now. You will be able to download. Again, no rocket science is downloading this particular tool. You will be able to easily download and set up in your system. Once you will start this tool, there we have a app. Let's start this one. Okay. Once you'll download this tool, once you'll start this tool, simple to use. All you have to do is you have to go to the automated scan. Okay. Over here, you have to provide the URL or the IP address. Now, as I told you, you don't have to use it on live websites which are running fine. You have to basically use it on the testing websites or the Pakistani websites, I'll say. So just provide the IP address and click on attack. That's all you have to do. Now, what this tool is going to do, this tool is first going to spider all your data, spider all the URLs. Spider the URLs means that it is going to find out the URLs from the Google. How? Let's say your website is abc.com. Now, we have abc.com sorry, abc.com/test. Let's say there is a link. It is going to find that out. We have abc.com/123. It is going to find out that. We have abc.com/admin. It is going to find that. We have abc.com/exam. It is going to do that. So these are the URLs, right? It is going to find out all the URLs first. So you see spider, Ajax spider, it is performing that. Test php /style.css, index.php, and all those things. Finding out. Once it is done finding out the spidering the all the URLs, then it is going to figure out the exploitation. It is going to perform the exploitation and finds out all the vulnerabilities we have in this website. If you go to the alerts area, in the alerts area, it is showing the vulnerabilities. What is the vulnerability? X-frame option header not set. This is one of the vulnerability. Okay, what is this vulnerability? You click on this vulnerability. Don't click on this particular link. Okay, click on the vulnerability over here. It is going to basically show you what is the vulnerability. What is the description? What will happen if this vulnerability is there? What will happen? X-frame option header is not included in HTTP. Response to protect against clickjacking attack. So there is an attack, we call it clickjacking. Clickjacking attack is basically if I'm clicking over Firefox headless. Okay. In clickjacking attack, what an attacker can do, he can create a fake button over here. Okay. As soon as I'm going to click on it, it is going to redirect me to another website or whatever action he wants me to perform. He wants me to log out. By clicking over here, I'll be logged out. So depends upon what kind of action he wants, he can do that. So that will be clickbacking. Not a very good attack, very basic attack. Nobody cares about it. but yes, it is there. So we have to figure it out. So even if your attack is there, there are very small tutti vulnerabilities are also there, right? From very basic to high end vulnerabilities. So you don't have to basically judge the vulnerability when it's about client testing. You have to submit the very basic to high end all type of vulnerabilities by telling him even a small vulnerability can even harm your organization. Okay. So you can, by this way, the number of vulnerabilities are also increased while you present the report. Okay, so you cannot say you have found 3 vulnerabilities, because 3 vulnerabilities were only the high-end vulnerabilities. So you can also submit the low-end vulnerabilities and tell them that these are the low-end vulnerabilities also. So you have submitted 20 vulnerabilities total. That will help you out. But if it is saying this like clickjacking is possible, it does not mean it is possible. No. You have to test, you have to exploit it. That is what you are going to learn in BAPT. Okay. If you go down, what is the solution? You can read the solution and tell your client that this is the solution we have to follow. Reference, you can read more about this vulnerability from this particular area. We will be studying about these vulnerabilities, so you will understand. Likewise, it says NT-CSRF token missing. Now, what is CSRF? CSRF is basically a vulnerability, cross-site request forgery. Okay. In this particular vulnerability, what can happen? One can send you a link. Let's say I'll send you a link. As soon as you're going to click on that link, if I want you to log out from Facebook, you will be logged out from the Facebook. If I want you to comment on a particular website, okay, sorry, comment on a particular post on Facebook, your comment will be posted over there. But it is not that you can perform this on Facebook. No, you cannot do that. It was just an example. This is a vulnerability. If your website is vulnerable to CSRF, I can make you perform this activity. So let's say abc.com is there and it is vulnerable to CSRF. So according to the website, what are the different activities we have on this website? So I have to figure it out. Am I able to perform any such kind of vulnerability or not? Any such kind of attack? So I want to change your, let's say, DP, display picture. I can do that. I'll send you a request which will be having our DP and all those things. You just have to click on that link. That's all. You'll click on that link. You'll go OK. As soon as you'll go OK, your DP is going to change. I did it, but you have to click it. So this is CSRF. Same way, you will be seeing so many vulnerabilities when the scanning is done. Still now, the spidering is only going on. Once the spidering is done, the scanning part will come. When the scanning is going on, you will be able to see like these so many vulnerabilities. Right now, it has found 5 vulnerabilities, but once the scanning is done, you will be able to see so many vulnerabilities over here. Okay, so this is a tool. Once the scanning is done, okay, once everything is done, you need the report of it. Okay, you cannot just read from here and tell your client, okay, do this, do that. So you have an option over here, report. Click on report. What kind of, in which format you want report? You want HTML format, XML format, you want markdown, JSON format? Yes, Imanshu, bug bounty is all about finding vulnerability. Good vulnerability, not these choti moti vulnerabilities. No, a good vulnerability. So there are 5 type of vulnerability: P1, P2, P3, P4, P5. We do not look for P5 vulnerabilities in bug bounty. In bug bounty, we look for P1 to P4 vulnerabilities. I'll explain you about bug bounty once we'll be learning about VAPT. Okay. So now let's say we want to. Yes. Once we are going to learn that. So I want to generate HTML report. I'll click on HTML report, generate HTML where I want it. I want it on the desktop. Let's give it batch. Hit enter. Where is my report? Here is batch. Right click. Open with browser. Google Chrome. Okay. Let's do it again. Report. Generate HTML.
I think .html do we need to write?
Save. Now see, we got the scanning report. Now in the proper format, it is telling us what is the vulnerability, how many vulnerabilities they have found, what is the severity of that vulnerability, description, what is the URL for it, proper URL, this is the URL where this vulnerability exists. Now, if you want to find out, you can attack, you can go to this URL and you can perform attack over there. Depends upon vulnerability, you have to attack or you just have to look for the information like this. Right now, you might not be understanding what all this written, how to read this. Don't worry about it because you have never found any vulnerability manually. Once you will found the vulnerability manually, this will be nothing for you. You might be understanding right now, what is this get, what is this extreme option, what is this URL, why we have 2-3 URLs over here. Right now you might be having this question, but don't worry about it, because once you will do it manually, this automated scan will be like simple thing, will snap of a finger for you at that point of time. Okay, so this is one of the very good tool, free tool I'm talking about, not the paid tool. I can show you a paid tool, but the issue is that once I'll run that tool, no, my system get hang. Okay, so in case my system get hang, you have to basically wait for me and I will have to reconnect the session. All right, so I'll show you the free paid tool also, Acunetics. Once I'll start Acunetics, it is going to basically disturb my system a bit. In case my system gets hanged, don't worry, I'll reconnect my system. Okay, I'll do something, I'll close the Acunetics and I'll reconnect. So Acunetics is the only company which basically provides you this IP, this particular website, test PHP website. This is Acunetics website only. Like this, Acunetics is providing 5 or 4 websites for testing purpose. See, these are the websites Acunetics, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 websites Acunetics is providing. So ours is testphp.web.com. Copy that. Now this is how your Acunetics looks like. Okay. Now in Acunetics, there are so many things which you can perform. If you want to only look for subdomain scan, you can perform subdomain scan. You want to perform full site scan, you can perform full. Generally, people perform full site scan only. You do not go for a single attack. You want to perform blind SQL injection, you can perform blind SQL injection. So these are the attacks. Okay. Now I want to perform my scanning on the website. Just click on new scan. Provide the website name. Website name is already been given. Test PHP 1 web. Next, next, and finish. Finish, and it is going to scan the website for me. Now, while it is scanning, possibility is there that my system will get hanged. Now, let's see if it is or not. Guys, can you hear me?